Alright, just want to kick off this video just kind of showing off Galvin's weakness on his side B. His side B is pretty good, until it's not, is what I like to say. So, pretty much I kind of have a state here, and just kind of go over a common scenario when he's off stage. Kind of illustrate some few things about things that you can abuse about his side B and where he's at. So, I'm just going to start off throwing him off. Just kind of taking a look at him, you know, he side B straight to the ledge, is what it is. We can keep going here. I'm going to hit pause, so we're going to see the frames. So, you know, the CPU, it's not me controlling it. The CPU is doing whatever he wants to do. But typically, they don't jump, or at least you should pay attention to how the Galvin reacts when they're off stage. They'll probably save their double jump because they're so used to, like, getting back to ledge for free. Not free, but not having to work so hard. So they'll probably save their double jump. And then I think this one, starts up. So there's about 22 frames of startup. They nerfed this quite a while back. And 22 frames is kind of a lot to react to. But actually 23 because it's 0 frame problem. So, you know, you can react to it a little bit. It's tough, but you can also use reading. So, you kind of get a feeling of what they're going to do when they're going to side B. You've seen it a million times. Probably played it out quite a bit, but I just want to talk about another aspect of the side B, which is kind of the actual, I don't want to say disjointed part because it's still pretty big. Let me just draw a map because I got a cool little marker. So here you can see the hitbox here. If I click on this here, you can see it. You know, it's still pretty decent sized hitbox. However, it actually grows larger as time goes on. There's just a spot. We'll keep going, so let's keep going here. Come on. There it is. So that's the big part. That's the part that's really hard to contest, especially from the front. It's hard to space with our stuff. You know, you can bear it. It'll trade, which is still good for you. You can also down B it, still pretty risky. Down air is pretty risky, but there's times where you just want to actually do those two options that are pretty risky to hit it and go for the trade. But that's the part that hits everybody. That's the part that gets everybody when they buy the ledge, right? And then here's the other portion. So if they didn't jump at the beginning, they're probably didn't get that distance by the horizontal distance by jumping. They're probably in mid-stage. But I just want to point out that after their whole side B goes through, they have about 33 frames. I know it says 32 here, but I'm counting the 0 frame of this weird little idle state. And if they're near ledge, they'll grab ledge. You can see the box here. But if they're not near a wall where they can wall jump, if they're just kind of in the open, they can't do anything. You have 33 frames that just hit them. That's about a whole fair and a half. You know, that's plenty of time. And I'm only bringing this up because it'll be relevant because there's certain situations where they go into this tumble, and you'll see it. And I'll cut the video to be like, here it is. This is where you should have done this instead of just doing this. So just wanted to point that out. Because if I go back here, I'm just going to kind of show some examples of what you can do. So I'm going to hit stop recording because in case I mess up and it'll look really weird because the CPU does different things. I mean, you can react to it. Let me just try it off here, but I'm just going to hit start recording. Alright, so just want to show off some examples. So I'm going to try doing the fair example. You throw them off. You look at them. Fair. You react with that side B. Throw them off. Again, look at them. You try to down air though. I was a little too slow in that reaction. Boom, I saw it. And then I went for that down air. And they just die. They just die for it. Now let me show off. Actually, let me start right here. Alright, so now I'm going to show off the cargo portion of this. So, pre-facing back. We go back to this. We keep hitting that right here. If you look at him, there's all this portion that you can grab with cargo. And so it's kind of weird. It's like you got to predict where they're going to be It's like a baseball coming to you if you're playing if you're just playing baseball. It's kind of weird you got to say that twice. Anyways, you gotta hit the ball coming to you. You're the bat, but you're the bat grabbing him. So if I kind of go back, I'll just kind of show off what that looks like. And so it's a little bit tougher with the CPU because I have to read what a CPU is doing. I'm not the greatest at that. It's usually by feels and how the galvin usually goes through. So throw this here. Watch it. Cargo. I missed it there. Oh, it's too high. Go here. They went low. You throw them down. They instantly die. I'll do it again. Go here. Watch them. They went high a little bit. Oh, I messed up because I wasn't holding down. But you can kind of see there's a little bit of leniency here. Grab them here. Watch them. That was a little bit of different though. That will catch people. That's what the galvins will start doing. They have to start mixing it up. If they don't, then they just kind of get Carlo here. Oh, missed it a little bit. I was a little bit off. I kind of go here. They're dead. Instantly dead. They're just dead. Especially at this percent range. If they go low, shoot. And they're that far out. And there's that tumble, like that tumble 40 or the 33 frames. They can't do anything. Go here, watch them. I've messed up a little bit because I'm like watching the OBS a little bit there, but go here, watch them again. They went high, you grab them, go down, and then they can still come back. You gotta get ready for that though. But you can see what I mean. All right, I'm just gonna show off like sometimes rock isn't good at edgeguarding galvin. It's a little bit tougher with the CPU because the CPU might do random things. But I just want to preface that like if you throw them off, you grab rock, you might not have enough time to do what you need to do to edgeguard them. Like right there, you know what I mean? Like I like pulling rock if they're mixing a lot of things up, like they're waiting to do the side B. But I like to just only grab rock as a backup and they're far off, and then they, you know, there you go. Like that example, like it just, you know, backs me up. I don't like doing rock with pillar because then it's cool, but at the same time I'm just like, okay, I mean, I know you're gonna side B, I can do this, and if I mess up, you know, you can grab ledge or something, and then I have to also be, I also have to be in this spot, this area here, which is like, I don't know, I just would rather throw them off, watch them, fair, dare, or have rock as my backup when I'm trying to edgeguard in general. I also want to just show off that it's only decent when they're kind of like above or below ledge, I should say. If they're above ledge, things get a lot trickier in terms of how they recover. So, I mean, it's just like Crag, right? If we're above ledge, we have aerials to back us up. But if they're kind of far away, if Galvin's like far away, super far away, like in that distance, you know, there's no worries. If they're like, if I put TI in, if they're like this, that's when things can become a little bit trickier. This one's where they can just jump up. If they go low, you know, you can just fair or whatever, or they just probably up B. But, you know, they got options mixes here. But when they're far out, they don't got squat. They have to go through and do that side B if they want to make it back. Or they jump to get that horizontal distance, but then they lose their jump. So then when they side B back, and you cargo them, or you down air them, they're screwed. They're 100% screwed. Alright, I'm just going to show off some situations. I'm going to see if I can try to read the CPU, but I'm going to try to do a cargo on this guy first. Alright, I'll throw him off. And there you go, first try. However, I kind of goofed it up in terms of my own recovery, because I got that there, but we'll do a little bit of this. And there's the up B. So that's kind of the mix they can do. And it's messed up because their up B can actually combo us. It's kind of fucked up. But just want to show off that cargo option. Alright, I'm going to show off the mid percents, kind of the mid-range area. I'm going to just kind of show off the scenario with the fair. Kind of in that yellow zone or green zone, whatever I called it at. But, you know, I just want to see what Galvin kind of does here. And like I said, this is hard read. You know, looking at their habits, they can up B here, they can jump. They can air dodge, so that's why it's going to be kind of a hard read. So I'm just going to watch Galvin. I'm just going to watch the CPU right there. And that's what I'm talking about, like that uppy kind of mix, because it's so fast. But if you wait a little bit, just watch him siding. No, uppy. Watch him. You can kind of see this in this range. Once they kind of get to that weird certain spot, it's like right there. They're up being here, but it's like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe. It's like you watch them until they hit this spot here, and then you can do your little thing. I don't know, it's just something I noticed. Or they keep going down, and then they're kind of in a worse spot. Okay, I'm going to show off kind of a dare or down B option. So I'm going to throw this, I'm going to read, and then they jump the up B there. That's the kind of mix they can do. Something I do not like. Die here, so I'll go here, and then air dodge. It's tricky. Like I said, this is like a tricky, hard read zone, but all I'm doing is just watching them and then going through. And I'm just watching them. And for some reason, it's opting to do the up B. Just kind of weird. Can you like do a little side B here? There you go, there's a side B. There's side B. Alright, I'm gonna show off the don't even bother zone and the percents. So we're at low percent. You hit them off, and they're kind of like right here. They're right here. You're still in recovery or whatever. What they can do is probably immediately up B. They can just side B. You can still kind of get a super hard read. This one, but say they're like right here, and they're like right there. Don't even bother. I mean, you can try this. Put it here and go here. Grab them. Down air, but they're probably gonna pull up with an air or something. Honestly, just grab rock or something. I don't know. Just grab rock. Just let it go. Just let it go. It's not worth it. I mean, you can go like this. It's just you can do whatever option you want to do to cover it. I don't know, down B or something. But it's not worth the go off the stage. Most of the time. It to me is just not worth it. Alright, I'm gonna do the other option, which is just something I'm really not a fan of, but I understand it's probably the easiest for most. And that's grabbing ledge. So you just grab ledge here and just do whatever you want, I guess. That's the other thing you could do. I'm not really great at it either, but that's why I probably opt to go for the other stuff. Alright, I just want to iterate the weakness in that side B a little bit more with this example. You're on this stage, they're off stage. This happened in your game plenty of times. You pulled the rock. Let me just turn them off here. So watch them, you watch them. There's that tumble percent. That huge amount of tumbles percent. That 33 frames where they're just like, I'm big chillin'. They can't do anything here. They're just dead. They're just dead. You just down here. I mean, they have to side B, right? Like, they're going to. If they go low enough, they die. I don't know. It's just, you don't need to pull rock here. You just down here. Alright, I just want to show off another version of the rock. Just from some gameplay of mine. So I throw off the galvin here. And they're pretty far out, as I've shown in the other examples. You know, I don't need a pull rock here. I can just wait and down air them, but I kind of go for something a little fancy here. And I pull rock because I'm like, okay, I can use this rock to my advantage, where it's a little hop, you know, like Absa Cloud, stall hop, or whatever you want to call it. So then I wait, use a little hop, so then I go in for that down air. And it trades, because, as I said before, let me go back quite a bit. You know, they have to side B down there. That's the whole point. You can abuse that. Just wanted to show off that example. All right, on to your VOD. I know it's been a little bit of me talking, but I just wanted to show off the Galvin stuff. Just to know what you're dealing with when you're looking at Galvin side B and how it relates to his recovery, because I think that you're making it harder on yourself for sure. And if you had, kind of got in the easy edge guards, you definitely could have had this in the bag for sure. Like it'd be 25% easier. I don't know, something like that. It felt like you were struggling a little bit, but for the sake of this, I'm not going to do the whole 18 minutes. At least you're not going to see the whole 18 minutes. I'm going to do some magic of where I just cut into it, but I will be watching. All right, I just want to show off an example of the do not try to do anything zone or just pull rock area. So you'll see that you will grab them and then you'll throw them off and they'll kind of reach that spot. So just a quick second here. Right there, that's the spot. If we go back, you threw them off and they're like right here. Let me go back a little bit. Let me get the actual they're right here in this spot. Honestly, just grab rock or something else, or grab ledge. I don't know, but I understand you probably went for it because you probably thought there weren't enough hits on, but for some reason Galvin gets out of shit he has no business getting out of, especially for a heavy. If you had landed it, it would have been great, but it's just that weird spot where, especially if you don't know if they're going to be able to act out of, it's just really risky. And I think you do get punished here because you whiffed it. You whiffed it, and now you're in a really bad spot. You are in a very bad spot, especially when pillar's going, but you're at low percent, so you should be all right. But yeah, that's rough. Just wanted to point that out. That's the kind of the scrap rock range. All right, just wanted to show off that I think you had the right idea. It's just that you just didn't turnaround cargo. You hit them off stage. You read the side B, like that they're gonna side B. You just didn't turn it around, not B reverse or anything. Just straight up turn around, and then you do it again, which is actually awesome. See, you have the read. You know they're gonna side B. You're just not turning it around, and you're also doing it a little bit early, but you know it's gonna happen. It's just the execution part, and also just want to preface that. If you look at them, they're saving their double jump, which means they're gonna side B unless they start mixing up a jump. But for majority of the time, a lot of good players won't use their double jump off stage. It's just something that you can abuse. All right, I just want to show off a clip where instead of playing with rock or at least using rock as a backup, just wanted to show off a spot where you could have easily just killed them, and they get back kind of not for free, but they had to work for it. But just want to show off a little missed opportunity. So you got rock, you're hitting them off, and then they end up here. So as I mentioned before, this spot here is kind of the magic zone of, they have to side B, especially when they don't use their double jump. They haven't used it as a mix, at least. They're going to side B and they're going to come straight to you. So you can either play with rock and throw it up as backup, or you can go down there and either dare them or fair them. But since you opt to go for the rock, here, I'll show off what just happens. And you get another chance too to mess them up. So if you throw it here, throw down the rock, and you don't really do anything to kind of back it up. You just kind of watch them. But here you can kind of see that tumble. They didn't make it back to the wall. You can start to see their tumble where they can't do anything. Literally, they're stuck there in this animation for about 33 frames, and you can see this. You can literally see it, and you're just kind of just chilling. But look at them go. Look at all that time you got. So you either could have fair them in this spot or dare them instead of throwing rock down. I just wanted to iterate that. It's just kind of a freebie here. And then you jump up, which understandable because you probably, thought they were going to jump up within there. But, just showing off that you got time. You don't need to use rock to kind of contest that. You can just either wait and then do a fair or dare there. And hopefully I can show off with a little play-by-play. All right, I just want to show off that spot where it's like, yeah, it's pretty hard to get that fair in, because you're reading, you got a hard read in this area, but you do a good job of like getting back, even after whiffing it. But yeah, that spot's tough. This spot right here, it's tough. I mean, honestly, if they're a bit of a higher percent, you probably would have got it. But yeah, I don't know. This is this zone here. If they're in this spot, it's just hard reads, and you know, it is what it is. All right, I just want to show off you hard reading is paying off in that like zone that you have to do it in. So here they're at, and you just say, okay, I'm gonna read that you're gonna side me to the ledge. So you know what? I'm gonna do it, and you did it, and it's beautiful. And they die. It's crazy. All right, here's another spot where you kind of just, I don't know why you're jumping here, but I just want to show off
that.
Can't
get away with any bullshit against this guy.
You can just kind of chill here. You jump for some reason. I don't know why. You double jump. You don't just go back to ledge. And you're just kind of giving up free. You got to keep the pressure on them in that spot. And then you go for a read, and this is the zone right here. The read zone. But yeah, I just wanted to show that off. Like, you got to keep some pressure on them.
The win,
just
right,
kind of gave it
honestly.
up. All right, not really an edge guarding thing, but I just wanted to point out this scenario here. So you pillar, and they side B back. They were really far away. They're like off screen. And so what's going to happen? They're going to be in that 33 frames of tumble. So you kind of just go through. You see that? Literally, they cannot do anything here. They cannot. They went through. They did their side B, and just look. I think you're finally out of. Yeah, there you go. You move. You still have time to do stuff here. You can literally cargo them if you wanted to, and they would probably die if you cargo them already here. Like, look at that. You kind of two are just like, you know, chilling together. They're dancing. And no.
There's got to be a way I can like punish him for that.
All right, here's another situation, another one in the same match where you pull the rock, and this is a spot where pulling rock isn't actually that helpful. So they're here. You shun them off. You can either use rock to back you up, or you don't grab rock at all and you just wait, because you're doing too much here. Look at that. Go back here. You're just doing a little bit too much. So if you go here, they're at that money spot. They're literally off screen here. They have to side B to get back. So instead of pulling rock here, you just wait, and then you can just, if I click on this, you can just watch them. You don't have to pull rock. You don't do any of this fancy stuff. Just watch them. I know there's platform here, but this is the spot. This is where they end. That's how much distance they gained, and now they're in this 33 frame end lag, where they're tumbling. They can't do squat. So you could have just down aired or faired them. Honestly, probably fair would probably be preferable, just because I'm afraid they would probably, you know, DI to that platform and tech. But I mean, you could opt for cargo, but still, like, this is a little too much. Look at them go. They're still there. 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 Holy crap. And then they land on it, and then you do your little pillar thing. You try to lift them up, and they pop up to the side. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I don't like doing that, when you can just wait. But, you know, it's good for other characters, and it's still good for Galvin. It's just, you know, there's other things that you can do that's easier. All right, immediately after that, after they get back, you send them off stage. You grab rock, and I mean, you didn't need to do it. because now they're still in that tumble again. You throw rock down and gets the kill, but still, that could have just been down air, and you didn't have to risk pulling the rock. Honestly, I think they probably could have lived this. Yeah, they could have lived that if they didn't miss the tech. So that's another reason why you should have just gone out there and just down aired instead of just throwing rock down. They could have teched this and lived, but they missed their tech. Let me go back. Like right here, they're in that money zone again, right? They're in the tumble. You don't need to mess with rock. If you're gonna mess with rock, throw it up, in case you mess up. But you can literally just wait and hit them here. Hit them right here. That's another stock you could have got. All right, again, showing off that hard read zone. Here's another example. You got them off. You know, they could have made it back with side B, but apparently, I guess side B goes that far. You whiffed it, and now you're kind of in a really bad situation, but that's okay. You make it back.
Oh yeah, I do.
All right, I just want to show off two scenarios. It's like a kind of a 2-for-1 situation here. You throw them off, you get them off stage. So here is kind of like the tricky zone, but since they're a good player, they don't use their double jump, and here you actually abuse that, you know, that tumbly and lag. I don't think you need to grab rock again here. This is what I'm talking about. Like, you could have just gone out there and fared them again, or you could have cargoed this, because look how much time they, like, I keep iterating it. Look how much time this is going on. They get hit by it, okay, and you pull rock again. You don't just go out there. Just go out there and hit them with a fair or something, or a dare. And you know, what if you messed up? You know what I mean? Like right here, you could have just dared them. You could have faired them again. Down B works. Then you go for the back air for some reason. I don't know. Maybe you messed up, but I don't know. It's just a lot of work for that's something that could have ended up in. You could have ended in like 3 less interactions. All right, just wanted to show off kind of at the end of your match. I think this is game 5. So this Galvin has now, you know, seen a little bit of your reads off stage, and I just want to show off something great that you do is just kind of waits. You don't pull rock, you just wait, and look what happens when you do that. So they're off stage. They're kind of in this magic area here. Where they either mix it up, they can jump. I mean, like if you imagine a line here, they're not in a very bad spots just yet. Because if this line was say if they were down here, then they'd be in a really bad spot. But since they're above here, they got options. And I just want to show off what happens when you just wait against this Galvin. They freak out. They freak out because it's like. Well, you've been reading their side Bs. Now they gotta do stuff, and they thought you were gonna go out there, and then you finally choose to do something. But then I don't know, you could have probably just waited a little bit more and react to their side B, because they exhausted all their options. You could have just chilled, because then they would have been forced to the side B, right? If they jumped already, they air dodged already. It only means one thing: they're gonna side B, especially going towards ledge, because they're Galvin mains, right? And so that's what they do. In this spot, you could have either fared them, or you probably could have cargoed them on the back drift there. But I just wanted to point out like the power of waiting and not pulling rock. You give yourself options. All right. Another example, doesn't hurt to have more. This should have been an easy stock, but just wanted to show off times where if you're gonna pull rock, use it to support you. But other times you probably can just wait. So here you didn't need to pull rock. You did not need to do all this, because look at where they were at. I click back here. They're all over here. They're all the way here, and I guess what? They're probably gonna side B, because they saved their jump. They're probably gonna shoot for this spot here, and you know. You could have just been standing right here and being ready for it. and it would have led into a kill. However, a little too much there. You're trying to do this fancy stuff with pillar, and it doesn't work out. So you throw it up, you miss the pillar still, and they're probably gonna wall jump or something off of it. But they were in tumble. They were in tumble right here in this spot, right there. Instead of pillaring, you could have just down aired. And then let's see what happens. You get in that weird zone where you have to read them, but you whiffed it. But that's okay.
How did I miss? Come on, man.
All right, another scenario. Because they're a good player, it kind of backfires on them for holding their double jump. So you send them off. They get into this awkward spot, right? And you can just chill here. This is kind of the read zone, right? Right here. And so, because they didn't jump, they get smoked here because you did a good job of reading what they're going to do. Because they're Galvin, right? You know, well, not because they're Galvin, but their previous habits have always shown that they're going to go straight to the ledge, and you just read it. And you just straight up down B.
Hard to hit that.
And I just want to point that out. That was a good job. Also, something that's not edgeguard related. Just wanted to point this out since you're making this video. I think your muscle memory kind of screws you over here. You also tech on the pillar when you're by the wall. You should just go for the wall tech. So you're like at the wall if they hit you again. I just wanted to point that out because you slide off and then you're kind of, you know, you're kind of in a rough spot there. Okay, kind of a weird different scenario. It's kind of a weird distance. Just watch. So they're not exactly all the way off screen here. They're not all the way here. They're not all the way here. So they're kind of in their weird spot where I don't think they can reach with up B here. You kind of go for the read here, but I think the best play is to just wait and cargo them. So if you go here, they side B to the wall. And the thing about them doing that is that you can actually just jump up, cargo them to the side, and then throw them down. And then they instant die, especially at this percent. They just straight up die here. If you can land that cargo. If you can read that side B. Or at least the angle of that side B. Or you can probably just do the clearance too, is that you wait for them to get to the wall and then you cargo them. But either way, cargo straight up kills in this situation. And just wanted to show that off. Okay, so this is kind of a weird spot, and this is probably one of the times I would actually agree to just grab ledge and just do something. It's probably like back air to push them out of there, or in there to kind of go into a forward air, but just watch. So you throw the rock up, it it sends them at the weirdest angle because I guess the back hit got of them, and then you're here at ledge. And honestly, you don't need to go for a rock here. You can probably just refresh and grab it. And then you would probably have enough frames to like do the nair back air here. That's probably one of the weird situations where, you know, I would opt to do the whole attack, refresh on ledge, attack, refresh. And then once they're in a good enough spot where they're in that magic area far away, then you can start doing the kind of the bread and butter edge guarding. But then another situation happens where you kind of do send them away, and now they're here. Now they're actually at that magic spot. Far out of here, way out of here. And you do opt for a rock, and honestly, it's not a bad play. Like I said before, you can just throw a rock up to help back you up, or you can just wait, because I'm gonna show off again. They're probably gonna end up like right here or something like that, where you can just down air them. So let's see. Yep, exactly where I would say they were gonna be, because they're gonna save their jump, right? And then, you're trying to do your fancy pillar stuff again. It's not going to work out. At least I don't think so. But if it does work out, it could have been easier. Yeah, that's what I thought. You're just doing a little too much, and, it is what it is. Okay, another odd scenario here. It's still the same match. You hit them off here. You opt to pull rock, but the thing is that they were so far out of here in that magic spot again, where they need a side B, where they could have just, you know, if they waited down, they would probably wouldn't here, and then you would have had time. But you know, this is one of the spots where pulling rock is not really that great, because look where they're at tumbling here, and you're spending all this time grabbing rock when you could have just been out here and chasing after them going this way. That looks really weird. I know, I'm sorry, but just also pointing that out. And let's just see how this plays out. Yeah, they're near the rock.
Looks.
You know,
It does.
it could have been a kill.